The worry tree is another way to manage negative thoughts. This tends to work best with anxiety-based thoughts. Worries are thoughts which lead to anxiety. Your brain is focused on the future and what may happen. It's related to uncertainty. It can be helpful in these situations to identify your worries. This is a bit like trying to understand the hot thoughts when using a thought diary. We can then follow a sort of flow chart to deal with these worries and ultimately let them go. We often call this flow chart the worry tree, as it can look a bit like a tree. The first and crucial step, identifying what the worry or indeed worries are. Remember, worries are the thoughts that lead to anxiety. If a thought isn't causing you anxiety, then it's not a worry. It really helps here to be as specific as possible. Often, our worries can feel like a big old tangle of wool. If we can tease out the individual worry thoughts, it's a big step towards tackling them. Good examples of worries would be, what if I miss the bus? Or I'm going to fail the test? Or what if I lose my job? Or I'm going to get ill? Rather than, for example, just saying, I'm worried about my job or my health. So once you've identified these worries, or as you're identifying them, it can be really helpful to write them down if that's possible. When you understand what it is that you're worrying about, you can then ask yourself, is this a current problem or a hypothetical problem? So a hypothetical problem is something that hasn't happened yet. It might be quite possible or realistic, but it isn't an actual problem now that you can do something about. It's hypothetical. It may happen in the future. It may not. Then depending on what answer you give, whether it's a current problem or a hypothetical problem, you follow the branches of the tree to manage that worry. So if you've identified that your worry is a hypothetical worry, we would follow that branch. So if it's a hypothetical problem, then as you can probably see, there's nothing we can do about it because it hasn't happened yet. So what we need to do is try and let that worry go. We talk about shifting your focus of attention to help you with letting that go. So if you think about your attention as being like a spotlight, and you can choose what you shine that spotlight on, you can then shift that focus onto something else. And it can be anything else, really. It might be something that you actually need to tackle in the here and now, an actual problem that may or may not be related to what you're worrying about. Or it may be something completely else. Just trying to shift that focus of attention onto that thing and letting that worry go. There's nothing you can do about it. If, however, you identify that your problem is actually a current problem, you need to do something about it. You need to try and solve that problem or put a plan in place of how and when you're going to solve that problem. Otherwise, that worry is just going to keep coming back to you as your brain's going to go, do something about this, and you're going to keep feeling anxious. Current problem, try and solve it. What we would suggest you do is set a time when you are going to solve that problem. Plan that in, and then, same as before, we let that worry go, we shift our focus of attention, and get on with something else. Obviously, sometimes problems are out of our control, and unfortunately, we then sometimes need to think about kind of acceptance of that, or thinking about what is in our control and focusing on solving that problem. Hopefully, that gives you a bit of an idea of what the worry tree is and what you need to do to let go of your worries. If you record your worries and then what you've done with them, whether you've sacked them off or let them go because they're hypothetical, or whether you've solved them because they're actual problems that you might be able to solve, then you might start and see some patterns. You might notice that you have lots of hypothetical worries, which is a good thing to have because you can just let all of them go. You've got less work to do. Or it may be that you've got some actual current problems and solving them is going to reduce your anxiety, and that's what you need to focus your attention on. Or it may be unfortunately, that it's about acceptance and learning how to live your best life despite some of those actual current problems. But hopefully, if you can follow that flowchart, that worry tree, you're going to end up with lots less worries to deal with.
There's 37 videos in total looking at different elements of thoughts, feelings, behaviours and physical responses to distress and discomfort. We hope you find some help from them.